William Barr had a fascinating interview, a pretty tense interview with Wolf Blitzer, and it just provided more evidence to show that the Trump administration does not care what the facts are, even if they're fact checked right to their face in real time. They'll just continue with their false narrative. Here's the example.
How do you think African-American parents around the country explain to their kids what exactly happened to Jacob Blake, for example, and why that police officer had his knee on George Floyd's neck for almost 9 minutes?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk about the Blake case.
Why not?
Because I think it's different than the Floyd case.
What's different?
Well, Floyd was already subdued, incapacitated, in handcuffs, and was not armed. In the Jacob case, he was in the midst of committing a felony and he was armed. So that's a big difference from the standpoint.
His family says he wasn't armed.
Well, I think
there may have been a knife in the car, but he wasn't armed when he was shot.
Well,
that's what his family and his lawyer said.
I stated what I believe is to be the difference, and that's why I don't want.
I mean, you just fact checked me, but I stated what I believe appears to be the difference, even though that distinction doesn't actually exist. I'm just gonna continue on with my narrative. But I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, right? Like, I think this is one of the reasons why I've been increasingly irritable with the news cycle, because the way everyone treats these stories is as if like, oh no, but if we just get them the right information, if we just fact check them, then they'll change course. No, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about our democracy. They don't care about the facts. They don't care about the truth. What they care about is sheer power, and they keep pursuing it. They keep accumulating it. And we're still having discussions about like, no, but if we just fact check. No, William Barr doesn't care. He doesn't care about George Floyd's life either, by the way. But somehow they made some sort of political calculation where they're like, oh, I think we need to pretend like we actually cared about George Floyd's life. Yeah. They don't care about anyone's lives at all.
Yeah, so there's many reasons why here. So first off, on Jacob Blake, if you go on social media, you'll see, at least the folks on social media, I haven't seen any polling of it of the general population, but right wingers there think, oh, absolutely, the cops should have murdered Jacob Blake. They think it's outrageous that anyone would complain that he was killed. They're like, there might have been a knife in the car. He was going towards the car. What did you expect the cop to do? To subdue him before he got the weapon? No, you don't want to take that kind of chance. What if he manages to reach the car and manages to reach the knife and somehow throws the knife as some sort of knife expert and hits the cops? You wouldn't want to take 1% of 1% chance. No, you murder him and move on with your life, of course. I'm telling you, man, they legitimately think, of course you killed a black man by shooting him in the back before he reaches the car. Of course. Of course. Now, on the other hand, Shannon Sharpe does a great job of this. Sean King is the king of this, if you will. But Shannon Sharpe's former football player, analyst now, and on his Twitter feed, he shows different cop reactions to black people and white people. White people get up and put cops' grills all the time, and they curse at them, they yell at them, they are physically abusive to them, they wrestle with them, they have weapons all over them, and the cops are like, oh, I'm so sorry, pretty please. They never shoot them. That's not fair. If you're poor, you're way more likely to get shot, even if you're white. Okay, and we've covered some police shootings of white people, but it is far less likely, and you see it in the videos all over the country. And right wingers really believe that if a cop is talking to a white right winger, he better watch himself, okay? He's got no right. That's a patriot. And a patriot can have all sorts of weapons. He's got a legal right to carry all those weapons, and sometimes even pointed at the cops, okay? But if a black guy is within a 3-state perimeter of anything that could be called a weapon, of course you shoot him in the back, of course. Where's the question? And they really don't get how incredibly racist they are. They just, because to them, it's a matter of privilege. I get to have weapons. I get to point it at you, and sometimes even at cops. I get to yell at cops because I'm the citizen. Whereas a black guy's a thug, a criminal, etc., a savage, and all these stereotypes they have. So of course, in order to keep me safe, you killed a black guy. So that's who Bill Barr is. He's just another glorified right wing. I can't curse. So jerk, to put it very, very mildly. He just happens to have a suit on. So I don't know where he keeps his Confederate flags, but you could tell from that. And in terms of George Floyd, Anna, why do they make a distinction there? Because the George Floyd video was so jarring that even a huge percentage of whites who just, look, this is a human thing, it's not a race thing. People just cannot see anyone else's perspective. It's apparently impossible. So they never believed black people in this country. Most whites in this country thought every black person was lying when they said the cops are constantly abusing us. They're like, oh, whatever, I believe the cops, you guys are liars. You're all millions of you, you're all liars, right? But when they saw it with their own eyes in George Floyd, and there was no excuse, and they saw he was handcuffed, and they saw he was down, and they saw that he said he can't breathe, and they saw it happen for 9 minutes, and they saw him die in front of their eyes. They were like, oh, wow, at least that one black guy wasn't lying, right? Like, well, now I'm not in favor of choking to death people who are already handcuffed. And so that's why Bill Barr's like, oh, that one we can't get away with. Yeah, George Floyd, he's the only one. He's the only one. Every other black guy's a liar except George Floyd, because the polling indicates that too many white people also believe he was killed.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.